everybody, welcome back to another Random Sam Epic Mom. Alright, so I've been telling myself not to do as many rants, and I was really trying to keep to that, but oh my goodness, I got one that I just gotta share. So I live in a little mountain town, and for things like going to the orthodontist or, specialists, I have to drive almost an hour to the main town of Rapid City. And I had to do that recently for my daughter to do a follow-up about her broken finger. It's healed amazingly well, so awesome on that one. But since we were in town, we decided any day that I have to take one of the kids in there, we try and make it kind of a day like that. So I took my husband with me, one of my other kids with me, because it was his day off of work. And we decided to go check out some of the main street stores that we usually don't get a chance to go really check out. We just figured, we had a little extra money in the pocket. We never really spoiled them. Ty's never really with us. Let's go do it. And so we went to a used bookstore and this kind of used clothes store, and we did all these things. And I'm really trying to stick back from politics because politics have gotten way out of control. And anybody who's actually seen any of these posts knows I am not a Democrat. I am not a Republican. I consider myself an independent American. Okay, that's my only title that I want put on me, is that I am an American. Okay? Hell, I even call my husband an American mutt because he's got so many different minorities mixed into that. So, but he looks white, so everybody calls him just white. But the thing is that I try to look at everybody as there's not just one thing. People are not all good, all bad. You're not, no matter what, I don't agree with a lot of the Democratic Party because I think they've gone off the rails. But I don't think that every Democrat out there is evil. I think there's a lot of really good Democrats out there, which is why I'm kind of pissed about this past election when they could have found some really good Democrats to run in the election. And they didn't pick a good Democrat to run in the election, and then they got butthurt when they lost the election. That's my opinion. That's, again, my opinion. I think there are some really good Democrats out there. I don't really see a lot of them in the forefront, though, because we have loudmouths out there who I don't agree with, like AOC and Elon Omar, and yet Biden, who I really didn't agree with. But, again, my opinion. And then I will agree with something that Trump's done. Do I agree 100% with everything Trump's done? Hell no. Do I agree with everybody he's put into positions of power? Hell no. If I agreed 100% with everything that the Republican Party did, I would be a little automaton. Just as if I agreed with 100% everything the Democratic Party did, I'd be an automaton. That is not it. I am a human being. I am an American citizen. I have my own opinions. As any other American citizen should have their own opinions. My life shapes my opinions. I put that out there because certain things I have an opinion of. One of the people Trump put into position of power when he came back into office was he got rid of the head of the Department of Health. I did not agree with that chick. I didn't think they were a very good representation of what the health department should be representing. Kennedy, I don't 100% agree with all of his stance, but I did like a lot of some basic stuff that he stood for, getting a lot of the preservatives and dyes that we don't need, and just a lot of the extra stuff that they don't have in like Europe and such, that they have here that has been proven to cause a lot of things that contributes to obesity, contributes to, other health issues. I agreed with completely. Because, again, I have 2 kids who have celiac disease. And, that's just one of the little things. Because I'm from South Dakota, I was really happy when our then Governor Noem got put into a position of power. Because she cares about the U.S. I have, these things, and I'm going to have a lot of things that nobody agrees with. Again, I look at things from a parent's perspective. I look at things from a female perspective. I look at them from, again, my own life history has had a lot of things happen that are different than for other people. So again, completely different of what I believe, what somebody else believes. And that's fine. But the reason I bring this up is because while we were going through these stores, going through the used stores, it focused on vintage clothes. And really cool, my daughter found a Ralph Lauren dress for $5. I was like, awesome, like holy crap. So awesome store, really amazing. It happened to have a sign in it that said Free Palestine. Okay, that's their stance, but it was like, really? That you're just gonna put your political agenda right there? Okay, whatever. I didn't say a thing. But then we went into this other store, and it was really cool. It's a Celtic store. Again, I'm not saying the full name, guys, because again, I don't want to get in trouble or anything like that. But we were talking to her, and we just mentioned, she mentioned how when she was in Europe, they couldn't have soda because, they don't have that, and how chocolate is different over there than here, and how the bread is almost all gluten-free over there because they don't use wheat, and how they don't use as much sugar over there. They use natural things like honey, and we were just talking about that. And I brought up how I was glad to have Kennedy in health. And the chick went off on me about how he was psychotic, about he was this and how that. And she went on a rant about all these liberal things. And I was like, And I just kind of nodded my head and said, well, not everybody's great. And I tried to, steer it to a different... Yeah, hi, buddy. I tried to steer it to a different direction. And that is fine. I mean, again, I am one person. That is my opinion. But the simple fact of the matter is that talking to somebody and agreeing with them that, yeah, I agree. I want to get a lot of these preservatives and these, extras out of the food processing so that things are healthier for kids, because I got 2 kids with health issues. And I thought I was having a really neat talk because, she was really pushing the whole, everything's better in Europe. Everything's better in Europe. And I was trying to say, yeah, and here in, America, we do have a lot of health issues, but, we have some great things too. I couldn't give up soda, and I couldn't, soda's a lot better than the energy drinks, in my opinion. But the simple fact that I said something positive about something on the Republican Party, and a minute she got just like a switch. She got really defensive and started bad-mouthing anything. And almost anything I brought up then, she wanted to turn into a political conversation. And I had to kind of redirect it. And that, to me, is scary. I went into 2 different stores. I went into, I think, a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. I went into a total of 5 stores that day. 5 stores, guys. In 2 of those stores, I had to watch what I said because the people working there were so political that I felt uncomfortable even talking. And one, because they posted, their political stance right up there. So I felt like, okay, I can't say anything. Gotta watch what I'm saying so I don't offend anybody. And I didn't, because I'm not going to, again, if I don't agree with you, I don't agree with you. That just happens to be my stance. And unless you bring it up, I'm not going to talk about it. Unless you kind of shove it in my face. But something as simple as talking about healthy food turned into that, and then turned the rest of the whole time into a political landmine. And that, I think, is scary, guys. The simple fact that I cannot have adult conversations anymore without people turning them into political minefields is terrifying. I am 40 years old, guys. And I know for a fact that when I was a teenager, we didn't have this much political crap in the news. We did not have this much political stuff being shoved down young Americans' throats. And again, this is just the climate of the world. I'm sure during the 60s, it was very highly politicalized, And because of all the stuff going on in the world, again, I wasn't alive then, so I don't have a really clear clue on that. But the point is this: when you can't have civilized discussions without it coming into play your political affiliation, that's wrong. I am of the belief that anything can be discussed. I've taught my kids that anything can be discussed, as long as you are willing to have discussions. But the minute you're willing to say, oh, that person's a psychopath, that person's this, or that person's that. Again, guys, I did vote for Trump. I will put that out there. Voting is supposed to be, anonymous, but we're not allowed to do that anymore, apparently, according to social media. But I do not agree 100% with everything Trump has done. I've never met President Trump. I would love to meet President Trump. I'd love to talk to him and get to know the person who's running our country. Just like I'd love to talk to any person who's actually run our country or run our government in a very meaningful way. That is it. Hell, I would have loved to talk to Biden just to tell him what I think. I would have done it in a respectful manner. But that's the point, guys, is that it is not all good, all bad. That's not how the world works. If I don't agree with you, I'm going to tell you that. But I'm going to do it in a very respectful way, unless you have done something completely heinous. We are people. We are not all right, all wrong. I am sure I am wrong on a lot of different things. I am raising 5 kids, doing the best I can. I'm sure I've screwed up in certain ways. But I believe that we should all be able to sit down and have conversations. I should be able to sit down and talk to somebody and say, hey, you know what? I think that we have too many preservatives in foods. That's my personal thing. But I understand that in certain things, because of how big our country is and how we distribute food, why we use certain preservatives. I get that. I grew up on a feedlot, which is not the same as a ranch, guys. It's, we keep pens and we stored like cattle during the winter and such, even actually year round, but that was something we did. And so I saw the cycle of life. We kept, occasionally we kept pigs. Mostly we just had some chickens of our own and we took care of cows. So I saw the cycle of life. So I have a better understanding on, meat production. How to take care of animals like horses. Haven't done it in over 20 years, but, I have a basic idea. So I have kind of an outlook on that. But because of that, growing up, I learned what type of vaccines and vitamins and medicines were given to the cattle to keep them healthy, to make sure that they didn't get sick and cause problems. I learned what was done to maintain a healthy environment for the cows. I have that knowledge, so I could sit down and talk to somebody about that, more than somebody who maybe lives in a city. So I'm going to be willing to talk to somebody about that. I'm going to talk to somebody about egg production. I'm going to tell them, hey, I prefer, free-range chicken eggs over, those factory ones where the chickens are kept penned up, because that's, again, I've seen the differences in how the animals are cared for. I've seen, because again, I grew up in a farming community, I've seen farming practices. Because my dad lived in a bunch of different places in cities, I've seen where, there are factory jobs and the environment in cities. I didn't live in the cities, I visited them, but I've seen that type of environment a little bit. Not enough to really tell you what programs are available in the cities and such, so I don't have a lot of say. But again, I'm willing to sit down and talk to people about it. I have life experiences that some people don't. Other people have life experiences I don't, which I'm willing to sit down for. But my point is this: I am willing to sit down and discuss things. But the majority of people are not willing to discuss stuff. They want to argue. They want to yell at you. They want to scream at you. They want to tell you that you are wrong if you don't agree with them, that you are evil. And the minute you do not agree with them, you are racist, you are fascist, you are sexist, you are the problem. And that is not okay, guys. The reason our country has gotten to this level of advancement is because we have had, until now, open dialogue. We have had the ability to discuss things. And that's how things get better, is by discussing things. At least I think so. That's, again, guys, just my opinion. I personally think we have the potential to do so many amazing things that we're not making it. So yes, I would love to be able to sit down and talk to people about any issue. But we are to the point, guys, that we can't do it because everything's a landmine. Anybody else out there, again, I do not care if you consider yourself a Democrat or a Republican, independent, whatever. I would like your opinion. If you've had similar situations where you're just talking casually, in a store or whatever, and felt as if you can't say anything because you're about to be, put in a corner, or you're about to be singled out, or you just feel very uncomfortable even talking because everything you say is about to be turned against you. Please let me know, because again, guys, it's not just happening to Republicans, it's also happening to Democrats. It's happening to everybody, and it shouldn't be that a political party affects how you're treated. We are people. We should be able to talk to each other respectfully. We should be able to talk to each other as other human beings. And I don't think we're doing that as much as we should be. We should respect each other. Again, we all have different opinions. We all have different life experiences. We've got to start being able to communicate without being offensive. We should not be saying, oh, well, this person's a psychopath, and this person's this, and this person's that. You don't like somebody, fine. I might not like somebody you like. Again, that's fine. But there is no reason to constantly be belittling other people for their beliefs. We just need to talk, guys. At least that's my opinion. Please let me know in the comments what you think. If you think I might have been too critical or whatever, please let me know. And if you think there are some ways to do better open dialogue, again, let me know. If you guys would be interested in doing a live stream, I will answer any questions you guys have about my own opinions. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye, guys. Hey, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. Please check out our other videos already on YouTube. And give us a like and subscribe. And if you hit that bell for notifications, you'll know when we put something new out. So try to make every day matter by finding the fun. You guys have a great one. Bye.